My sister-in-law, desperate to continue the family line, actually introduced me to her 60-year-old best friend. She even arranged the marriage for me. But unfortunately, fate had other plans. Natural disasters, locusts, and drought came one after another. Just to fill our stomachs. We sold everything we owned. How could there be any silver left for me to get married? In the end, my sister-in-law steeled herself and decided to take matters into her own hands. She would bear a child for the Zhao family, to appease our ancestors. In a daze, I felt what seemed to be a small hand roaming over my body. Little brother, let's have a child. Stop messing around. I pushed her away subconsciously, then jolted fully awake. I sat up on the broken wooden planks. But as soon as I spoke, soft body lunged at me. Don't be afraid, little brother. It doesn't hurt for a man the first time. Sister-in-law, what are you doing? I cried, grabbing hold of her hands. I whispered harshly. Seeing my reaction, Gao Shusho's face turned crimson, tears welling in the corners of her eyes. Yet her hands were still desperately pulling at my pants as she whispered, little brother. I have no other choice. When our parents-in-law were dying, they held my hand and told me that I must ensure the Zhao family line continues. Originally, I thought I could take on more sewing and mending work, save up for a few years, and get a wife for you. But who could have known that war and famine would strike at the same time? Look at our home. We're so poor that all we have left are these 4 mud walls. I'm afraid getting you a wife is just not possible anymore. I made a promise to them. I can't break it. Besides, I've thought it over. This body of mine, instead of it being wasted on someone else, I might as well give it to you. At the very least, bearing a child for the Zhao family is my duty anyway. As she spoke, tears began to stream from the corners of Gao Shusho's eyes. They rolled down her cheeks and splashed onto the back of my hand, so hot that my heart lurched in panic. 5 years ago, my father and older brother were conscripted and sent to the front lines. To this day, we don't know if they are alive or dead. And then, my mother passed away from an illness. For 5 years, my sister-in-law has struggled to raise me. She even introduced her own best friend to me. She arranged the marriage so that when I turned 18, I could pay the 3 taels of silver as a bride price and bring her home. But alas, fate had other plans. War, bandits, natural disasters, locusts, and drought, they all came one after the other. To survive, we sold everything we owned. We can barely feed ourselves, so how could we possibly afford a wedding? And that is precisely why my sister-in-law steeled herself and decided to take this burden upon herself. To bear a child for the Zhao family and bring peace to our ancestors. Why aren't you saying anything? Gao Shusho tilted her head up to look at me, trying to find a hint of support in my eyes. Sister-in-law, stop, please, just get off of me first. Hearing this, Gao Shusho looked even more heartbroken. Model. Tears streamed down her face again. She had just managed to convince herself. I never thought you would treat me this way. You despise your sister-in-law, don't you? I can't even begin to tell you how much I like you, so how could I ever despise you? Then why did you refuse? Hearing this, I gave a bitter laugh. I looked down at my own body, emaciated from the constant hunger, and replied. Sister-in-law, isn't the answer obvious enough? Right now, we're in the middle of a famine. Who isn't starving? Especially you and me, so hungry our stomachs are caving in. We're so incredibly weak, we barely have any strength left to even swing a hoe. Tell me, where would I get the spare energy to waste on something like that? Procreation is a biological instinct, but even instinct can't overcome the cruelty of reality. Instead of wasting my strength on that tonight, I'd rather go to sleep early. Saving my energy to figure out how to find food in the mountains tomorrow is what's important. Hearing my words, Gao Shusho was stunned for a long time. Only then did she let go, but the despair in her eyes lingered and wouldn't fade. That's right, we're on the verge of starving to death. Even if I really got pregnant, could I even give birth? Without enough food to eat or warm clothes to wear, even if I conceived, I'm afraid it would be a stillbirth. What do we do then? Does the Zhao family line really have to end? Gao Shusho covered her face with her hands, her expression full of sorrow. I was about to offer a few words of comfort, but thinking about our own situation, I immediately muttered bitterly under my breath. Did I get transported to another world just to starve? I wonder if I have some kind of cheat system. Ding! The host's strong will to survive has been detected. The daily intelligence system is now activating. Current intelligence 1. Approximately 5 li directly to the west. Below a cliff, there is an old, abandoned trap. Inside the trap, a roe deer is caught. Its left hind leg is severely injured. Due to excessive blood loss, it has lost most of its ability to move and resist. It is in a near-death state. Risk assessment, low. It is recommended to bring at least 1 blunt weapon. The route has been marked. Current intelligence 2. To the east, enter the thorn woods. 400 meters to the southwest after the woods, under a pile of rocks. There are 2 sharp-snouted vipers, 5 step snakes. If they are caught and sold to the apothecary in the county town, you can obtain a handsome sum of silver. Risk assessment. High. Caution is advised. A bite from one is almost certainly fatal. The route has been marked. Current intelligence 3. By the shore of Clearwater Lake, there is a 5-gin soft-shelled turtle. It is hibernating in the mud of the wetland. Old Man Lee from the village loves this particular delicacy. You can trade it with him for fine white rice. Risk assessment. Medium. The silt by the lakeside may trap your body. If you get stuck, will be difficult to escape. The route has been marked. Seeing this, my eyes widened. I was immediately overjoyed. 3 pieces of intelligence. 3 different rewards. The 5-step snakes are too dangerous. As for the soft-shelled turtle, even if I trade it for rice and flour, it won't last long. So, in terms of the reward, the roe deer has to be the first choice. With this in mind, I glanced at Gao Shusho. Sister-in-law, I whispered. You stay right here at home. Don't you dare go out for any reason. Also, get some firewood ready and light the stove. We're going to eat meat in a bit. As I spoke, I got up, grabbed the only iron tool in the house, the hoe, and bolted outside. Where are you going? Don't you do anything foolish. Gao Shusho was startled by my sudden reaction and quickly cried out. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. I waved her off and didn't say another word. I just took off running even faster. About an hour later, I finally arrived at the location marked by the system. Under the moonlight, in a pit trap, there was indeed a grayish-brown shadow trembling slightly. I crept closer cautiously, only to see a male roe deer of considerable size lying on its side in the pit. Its right foreleg was bent at a clearly unnatural angle, and I saw its pair of large eyes shining with terror in the moonlight, but its body was only twitching faintly. It clearly had no strength left to escape. What a silly roe deer. A flash of joy went through me. These things are timid. When startled, they tend to panic and fall into pits. It seems the intel was correct. With that in mind, I vigilantly scanned my surroundings. After confirming there was no other danger, I slowly slid down into the shallow pit. Gazing at the whimpering roe deer, I raised the hoe and said in a low voice, "Go in peace. It's late autumn now. The weather is about to turn cold, and we're short on clothes and food at home. Half the meat from this deer can be traded for dozens of pounds of miscellaneous grain, plus 2 old cloth jackets, no problem. We'll keep the other half for ourselves, to help replenish our own worn-out bodies." Zhao Family Gully. Inside a thatched hut, Gao Shusho was currently facing the wood-stoked stove, crying, with tears the size of beans continuously rolling down, dripping onto a notice she clutched tightly in her hand. Stamped on it was an official order from the county magistrate. This life. How in the world are we supposed to live? This damned world. It really doesn't give a person any way to survive. Sister-in-law. Suddenly, a shout came from outside the door. Gao Shusho instinctively turned her head, alarmed, only to see me panting heavily as I ran up carrying a roe deer. Little brother. Gao Shusho's eyes went wide, a look of complete shock overflowing from them. With a thud, I tossed the roe deer onto the ground. I brushed the dust from my clothes and said, catching my breath, "Sister-in-law, I'll have to trouble you to handle this. Let's be quick about it. We need to kill this deer and eat." "All right," Gao Shusho nodded. Then, wiping the undried tears from the corners of her eyes, she picked up a long rusted iron knife from the side. Ready to butcher it. "Sister-in-law, why are you crying?" I noticed the glistening tear tracks at the corners of my sister-in-law's eyes. I couldn't help but ask, "Little brother." Hearing this, all the despair and reluctance in Gao Shusho's eyes came flooding out. She immediately threw herself at me, wrapped her arms around my neck and refused to let go. "Sister-in-law, what in the world is wrong? Who bullied you? I'll kill him. It's not about me. It's you. You're the one in trouble." Gao Shusho was sobbing now. She handed over the notice from the authorities. "The government sent runners. They said you have to serve in the army for 3 years before the winter solstice." What? Hearing this, I was instantly enraged. Serve in the army? My father and my older brother went for military service, and we haven't heard a word from them in 5 years. We even paid people to look for information, but the only news we got back was 2 words, missing. Missing on the battlefield. What does that even mean? I know better than anyone. Either they were killed, with no body left to find, or they were taken prisoner. But no matter which one, my father and brother met a terrible end. According to the laws of Great Chu, one household only has to send 2 men. My father and brother already fulfilled my duty for me. These damned authorities, they've gone too far. They're simply not giving the common people a chance to live. I was burning with rage. I wanted nothing more than to tear this official notice to shreds, but what little sense I had left reminded me that I couldn't. "Little brother-in-law," Gao Shusho sobbed as she looked at Zhao Ming. After a long moment, she finally clenched her teeth and said, "Military service is almost a death sentence. So many men from our village went to the front lines, and only a handful came back alive. You're the last man in our family. There's no way your sister-in-law is going to watch you walk into danger. I've made my decision. I'm going to sell myself to the Yihong brothel in the county seat. With the money I get, I'll pay the tax to get you exempted from service. Hearing this, how could I possibly allow it? Yihong brothel? What kind of place is that? That's a whorehouse where 1,000 men could have their way with you. No matter how much of a scoundrel I am, I could never let my own sister-in-law do such a thing. If I did, how could I face the Zhao family ancestors after I die? How could I face my father and my big brother? Sister-in-law, no. I will never agree to this. But if I don't do this, what will happen to you? Gao Shusho's tears streamed down her face. She hugged my arm, her grip tightening. I don't want to sell myself either. But I really have no other choice. I can't just stand by and watch you go to your death. Seeing my sister-in-law's face, so beautiful even as she cried, I felt a pang of heartache. I gently tucked a stray strand of hair behind her ear, and said softly but firmly, we'll find a way. Sister-in-law, trust me. Look, I just went out for a bit and already managed to catch a silly roe deer. If my luck holds out and I can catch a few more, then we'll have enough money, right? You're just trying to comfort me. There are so many hunters in the village, but how many of them actually manage to catch anything? Catching that roe deer today was just a stroke of dumb luck. How could you possibly get one every day? Gao Shusho's face was filled with disbelief. I will, sister-in-law. Trust me, the military service fee is 6 taels of silver. I promise I will earn enough silver within 3 days. When that time comes, the two of us can go back to living a good life. Alright. Upon hearing this, Gao Shusho nodded. Rumble. Suddenly, the sound of a stomach rumbling could be heard. My expression turned a little awkward. Sister-in-law, hurry up and cook. You just wait here. I'll get right on it. Gao Shusho quickly agreed. Half a shichen later, the two of them finally had a full meal. But they tossed and turned, unable to fall asleep. Military service. 6 taels of silver. I closed my eyes, muttering to myself, with my own abilities, trying to scrape together this much silver is nothing short of a fool's dream. The only way is to use the system. If the system doesn't work either, then there are only 2 options. One is to become a bandit. The second is to flee deep into the mountains. However, both of those options ultimately lead to a dead end. I hope that tomorrow, the system can give me some good information. I sighed softly, and turned on my side to sleep. The next day, the two of them slowly woke up. Zhao Ming had a simple drink of dog meat broth, then said goodbye to Gao Shusho, carrying the only iron tool in the house, a hoe, and headed out of the village. After leaving the village, Zhao Ming, full of determination, checked his latest system intelligence for the day. Intel 1. 800 meters west along the left mountain path, under the locust tree forest. There is a bag buried by a passing ginseng collector. Opening it will yield a great reward. Risk assessment. Low. Route has been marked. Intel 2. East of the right mountain path, next to an old Aurelia elata tree. There is an old wild wolf sunbathing. Risk assessment. High. Route has been marked. Proceed with caution. Intel 3. The 3 Zhao Hai brothers in the village are planning a robbery to evade military service. They are currently lying in ambush at the three-way fork, preparing to attack a hunter from the neighboring village. After eliminating him, you can obtain 2 taels of pure silver, 3 wild rabbits, and 2 sets of bows and arrows. Risk assessment. High. Route marking successful. Host, please act with caution. Looking at these 3 pieces of intel, Zhao Ming shook his head helplessly. Intel 2 is an old wolf. Wolf meat is gamey and tough, and a wolf pelt is only worth 3 qian of silver. It's not worth the risk. As for Intel 3, the 3 Zhao Hai brothers are not to be trifled with. To think they'd attack a hunter from a neighboring village just to dodge military service. They're truly ruthless. This matter is something he won't get involved in, nor does he have the ability to. Looking at it this way, Intel 1 seems worth checking out. Before the famine years, this winding Chu ridge stretched for 800 li. Before the famine years, this winding Chu ridge stretched for 800 li. There are quite a few ginseng collectors in the mountains. Any single wild ginseng could sell for several taels of silver. This ginseng collector's package shouldn't disappoint me, I imagine. With this thought, Zhao Ming couldn't help but speed up. Following the system's route guidance, he rushed toward the left mountain path. A little over an hour later, following the mountain path, Zhao Ming did indeed see the locust tree forest in the mountains that the system had marked. Before him was a tall locust tree. It was clearly quite old. On both sides of the locust tree was a pile of dry weeds, growing unevenly. Seeing this, Zhao Ming was delighted. He picked up his hoe and began to dig non-stop. As the dirt was cleared away bit by bit, Zhao Ming soon saw a leather package. It was also wrapped in a layer of oil paper. It's out. Zhao Ming rubbed his hands, filled with excitement. His eyes were fixed on the package. Rip. After tearing open the package, Zhao Ming carefully rummaged inside. 2 taels of broken silver, a small pouch of silver coins. And also some long rotted jerky, as well as 2 ginseng roots wrapped in red cloth. They didn't look too old, but they were at least 20 or 30 years old. Zhao Ming didn't look at the silver, but instead cradled the 2 ginseng roots. His breathing grew rapid. Zhao Ming tried hard to contain his excitement. He put a small ginseng rootlet into his mouth, and after tasting it, a faint warmth rose within his body. Zhao Ming suppressed his joy, and quickly tucked it into his pocket. It's real. It's definitely the real deal. As long as I can resell it. Forget about the silver for military service, I can even redecorate my home. At this thought, Zhao Ming didn't dare hesitate. After pocketing the 2 taels of silver next to it, he picked up his hoe and prepared to run down the mountain. There was still enough time. He had to exchange the ginseng for silver, for something to eat, as soon as possible to feel at ease. Little Ming, what's with you running so fast? See a mountain ghost? Just as he reached the foot of the mountain, a voice suddenly came from the side. He looked up, startled. He saw a man missing half a front tooth approaching him with a delighted look on his face. Seeing him, Zhao Ming couldn't be bothered to respond. According to the original owner's memories, this guy was named Zhao Damao. He was a petty thief who had even bullied the original owner many times. Why aren't you talking? Are you hiding something good in there? Let me see. Seeing that Zhao Ming wasn't talking, but just clutching his chest, Zhao Damao immediately rushed over, reaching out to grab at him. As the 2 of them struggled, the cloth pouch with the ginseng happened to fall to the ground. Seeing this, Zhao Damao's eyes went wide. He never thought he would have such great luck today. 2 ginseng roots. At the very least, they could earn him over 20 taels of silver. How much wine could he drink with that? Give that back. Seeing the 2 ginseng roots in Zhao Damao's hands, Zhao Ming's eyes instantly filled with killing intent. This ginseng was a matter of life and death for him. Listen to you. What do you mean? Give it back. I found this, so it's obviously mine. Don't you start causing trouble, kid. Otherwise, you're in for another beating. Zhao Damao couldn't care less. In his eyes, Zhao Ming was just a weakling. He'd bullied him plenty of times in the past. So what if I'm stealing his ginseng? Seeing Zhao Damao act this way, Zhao Ming remained silent, only feeling that killing intent in his heart, bottled up in his chest and screaming to be released. Damao, go to hell, Zhao Ming suddenly roared. Then, with the hoe in his hand, he mustered every ounce of strength he had, and brought it down hard on the back of Zhao Damao's head. Zhao Damao, still reveling in the joy of his prize, had no time to react. As the hoe struck the back of his head, a wave of intense dizziness followed. At this, Zhao Damao's eyes shot wide open. His mouth hung slightly open as he shakily raised a finger, staring at Zhao Ming in disbelief. Zhao Ming swung the hoe again, striking him across the cheek. Instantly, teeth flew from Zhao Damao's mouth. Any words he tried to say were choked by blood and foam. You bastard, I could take you bullying me before I transmigrated, but you're still going to bully me now? Then what was the point of me transmigrating? How dare you steal my ginseng? Don't you even take a look at yourself? Are you even worthy? Zhao Ming cursed, as he swung the hoe, striking him relentlessly. Then, a sickening sound of cracking bones could be heard again and again. Soon, Zhao Damao's skull was smashed to a pulp, brain matter splattering everywhere. He stopped breathing completely, but even so, Zhao Ming wasn't finished with him, bringing the hoe down hard on his neck. Only when his neck was completely severed did he finally drop to the ground. Panting heavily, his heart still pounding with fear as he stared at Zhao Damao's corpse, Zhao Ming was silent. He just felt sick to his stomach. In 2 lifetimes, this was the first time he had ever killed anyone. However, he didn't regret it at all. Stealing his ginseng was no different than ending his life. If he hadn't killed him, how could he have survived? I have to deal with the body, Zhao Ming muttered. Forcing down the nausea from the sight of the bloody pulp, he dragged the corpse to one side. He used the hoe to hastily dig a shallow pit to bury it. There were many wild beasts in the mountains. After nightfall, the beasts would take care of destroying the evidence for him. Once he had finished, Zhao Ming finally got to his feet. He put the ginseng back in his pocket and headed for the county town. County town. Inside Baisao Hall, an attendant was clicking the beads on an abacus. Muttering to himself, Honeysuckle received 3 jin and 4 liang. Logging the astragalus and Angelica. Hearing this, the shopkeeper at the side shook his head and sighed helplessly. As the saying goes, you live off the mountain. In the past, there were plenty of herb gatherers. But unfortunately, when the famine years came, some died, and others fled. As for these common herbs, there's no shortage of people to gather them. But alas, our hall is running out of valuable medicines. Xiao Wu, go post a few more notices later. Say that our Baisao Tang is buying valuable herbs. Hearing his master's words, the assistant put down the abacus in his hands, looked up, and said, Shopkeeper, the notices have been out for a while, but almost no one has come by. And the man who used to bring us ginseng still hasn't shown up. I reckon he probably died in the mountains. Upon hearing this, the shopkeeper fell silent, stroking his chin in thought. His Baisao Tang specialized in the medicinal herb trade, and also sold various kinds of prepared pills. Now, without valuable herbs to serve as the key ingredients, those few life-saving formulas were just useless paper. The end of the year was fast approaching, and the county was conscripting soldiers for the front lines. In addition, the garrison commander of a 500-man unit from outside the county would be leading his troops there as well. When the time came, medicine for frostbite, and remedies for internal injuries like pulmonary hemorrhage, those centurions from the army camps and their troops would all be making purchases. This was a golden opportunity to make money. I absolutely cannot let this pass. Xiao Wu, since the notices in town aren't enough, take a trip to the countryside. Go post them in all the townships. Dendrobium, with special emphasis. Wuling ginseng, with special emphasis, and other valuable herbs like it, with special emphasis. We will pay a higher price for them, with special emphasis. This old man refuses to believe, with special emphasis, that we really can't get our hands on any. With special emphasis. Thump, thump, thump. The shopkeeper was only halfway through his sentence when a figure suddenly burst in. Looking up, he saw it was a slender young man in simple clothes. "Welcome, sir," Xiao Wu greeted him from across the counter. "No." Zhao Ming held up a cloth bundle he'd pulled from inside his robes. Inside were 2 ginseng roots. Whoosh! The instant the ginseng was revealed, the shopkeeper at the side moved as if on wings, appearing before Zhao Ming in a flash. His eyes were glued to the 2 ginseng roots as he reached out with a withered, old hand. He used his fingernail to gently break off a tiny flake and placed it in his mouth. Sweet, slightly bitter, and warm in nature. It's authentic. Judging by its size and appearance, this should be a wild ginseng of about 35 years. Around this county, this is considered a rarity. Not bad, a fine item indeed. The shopkeeper sighed with admiration, then looked up at Zhao Ming with a friendly smile and said, "Young friend, where did you get this?" "Rest assured, shopkeeper, its origins are completely legitimate." Zhao Ming quickly replied, "A grassy fragrance. Good, a bitter aroma. An orchid fragrance. For the 2 ginseng roots, a bitter aroma. How about I offer you 55 taels? A bitter aroma. It's not that I won't give you a high price, but this ginseng of yours is just too poorly preserved. The quality isn't good, otherwise I could have added another 5 taels." Hearing this, Zhao Ming was stunned. A wave of joy instantly washed over him. 55 taels. What an incredible windfall. With this kind of money, not only can I pay off the military service fee, I can also buy a large amount of supplies and improve our lives. At this thought, Zhao Ming looked up at the shopkeeper and nodded solemnly. "All right, I'll take your offer, shopkeeper. But I'd like it in small denomination notes." "Haha, no problem at all. Go and get 5 10-tael notes. And 5 taels of loose silver," the shopkeeper said with a slight grin. He then turned to the assistant behind him. Right away, the assistant quickly put down his abacus and went to do as he was told. A moment later, Zhao Ming accepted the banknotes. An indescribable excitement filled his heart. These notes may be light, but they're worth more than a man's life. With this, my sister-in-law and I can finally live a better life. If you have any more good herbs in the future, just bring them here, don't you worry. My haul of 100 herbs will always give you a fair price. All right, I'll remember that, shopkeeper. Farewell, Zhao Ming said with a nod. He then clasped his hands in respect, turned, and left. Beside him, the assistant, Xiao Wu, started muttering under his breath. Feeling quite resentful, that wretched pauper, a guy as skinny as a bamboo pole. Does he deserve this kind of money? Shopkeeper, what do you think, should we get someone too? Xiao Wu trailed off, then raised his hand. He made a quick slicing motion across his own neck. The meaning was obvious. Hearing this, the shopkeeper stroked the beard on his chin, twirling it gently. After a moment, he shook his head and sighed softly. There's no need for that. It's just over 50 taels of silver. It's not worth the risk. Besides, the kid just walked right into my haul of 100 herbs in broad daylight. If he turned up dead in a couple of days and someone found out, wouldn't the reputation of my haul of 100 herbs be ruined? And right now is a crucial time for acquiring herbs. We can't risk a large loss for a small gain. Yes, shopkeeper, I've learned my lesson. Xiao Wu nodded respectfully. Go on, get back to your work. And I should get to making the pills. These 2 ginseng roots can be made into quite a few vitality pills. No, those generals on the battlefield, the ones who are gravely injured and in desperate need of recovery. They're the ones who need this. When the military commander from outside the city returns, I'll sell them to him for 10 taels of silver apiece, for a cost of just over 50 taels. I'll make a profit of 7 or 8 times that. The shopkeeper thought with a wide grin. After leaving the Hall of 100 Herbs, Zhao Ming didn't hesitate for a moment. He went straight to the grain shop for coarse grains and fine grains, buying 1 dan of each. He also took a trip to the bean oil shop. On the way, he also went to the carpenter's workshop and purchased 2 wooden beds. First, he paid a deposit. After the carpenter's workshop delivers the beds to Zhao family village, he would then pay the remaining balance. Also, the weather was getting cold, so he needed to buy a few cotton quilts. He also had to buy a few more sets of clothes for his sister-in-law. After doing all this, Zhao Ming also bought 2 daggers on the side. One he tucked into his robes, and the other he strapped to his leg. At the same time, he also bought a packet of chili powder and ash, hiding it in his sleeve. In the county town, there were many people and prying eyes. Buying so many things by himself, he couldn't guarantee he wouldn't be targeted. Making a few extra preparations was better than being sorry. After a round of shopping, Zhao Ming clicked his tongue. The 10-tael silver note was already mostly spent. However, there was still the most important thing he hadn't bought yet. With all these things, he couldn't possibly carry them on his back. He had to buy a cart. With this in mind, Zhao Ming walked towards a marketplace. In this day and age, having an ordinary donkey cart was no less impressive than a $1 million luxury car in later generations. If one could have an ox cart or a horse-drawn carriage, that would be even more incredible. Never mind in the village, even in town, you could hold your head high. After all, with a cart like that, even if you did nothing else but deliver goods for others, it was a decent livelihood. As for buying a cart, there were roughly 3 ways. The first was the livestock market. These were mostly located near the city gates of counties or prefectures, or along some major transportation routes. These were basically flatbed wooden carts. You'd hitch an animal to it. The second way was through exclusive cart workshops. They had meticulously crafted various styles and would also help find a suitable animal. However, this was the most time-consuming method, and the price wasn't cheap either. The third way was through brokers. Their information was the most up-to-date. They specialized in selling information on second-hand carts, horses, or properties, and also provided corresponding guarantees. Of course, their prices were also the most expensive. Zhao Ming didn't have any special requirements for a cart. As long as it could carry things, it would be fine. The smell here is really strong. Seeing this, Zhao Ming couldn't help but frown. There were many pedestrians in this cart market, and various animal droppings were piled up. There wasn't anyone assigned to clean it up. After looking around for a while, Zhao Ming couldn't make heads or tails of anything. He then turned his gaze to one side, towards someone wrapped in a tattered coat. An old man leaning against a black donkey. This old fellow seemed a bit more honest. Thinking this, Zhao Ming took the initiative to speak. "Old man, how much for this donkey?" The old man, his face full of wrinkles, half opened his eyes to glance at Zhao Ming. He shouted a line of trade jargon in a raspy voice. "A 4-year-old jackass, an old cart that grinds the axle. Fixed price, no bargaining." As soon as Zhao Ming heard this immediately became awkward. He didn't understand it either. Seeing this, the old man knew right away that Zhao Ming was a novice, and he immediately perked up. He patted the black donkey next to him. "It's a male, hasn't been castrated. 4 years old. If you buy it, I'll throw in the old flatbed cart next to it. The cart doesn't pull to the side, but the axle does make a noise. The asking price is 14 taels. Old man, can you go any lower?" "Young man, that's not how it works. You came up and asked for the price, and I gave you a firm one. So I won't lower it unless you come back tomorrow. Of course, if you knew how to bargain in the sleeve, we could negotiate, but you clearly don't know the rules of the trade. I'm guessing you don't know how to inspect a donkey either. According to the rules, whatever I say is the price. If I were to change it, I'd be breaking my own rules. However, you can rest assured, the price I'm asking is absolutely fair. You can look around and come back. It's just that, if you ask too many questions, you might attract unwanted attention. After all, these days, 2 taels of silver can get a man killed, let alone over 10. Hearing this, Zhao Ming was stunned for a moment, then glanced cautiously to his left and right. After a moment of thought, he looked up and said with a measure of respect, "Here's 15 taels, no need for change, but please, sir, give me a word of advice." The old man was taken aback. But then he smiled and didn't refuse. He simply tucked the silver into his pouch. "You may be a bit slow, but you're not stupid. This market is filled with all sorts of people. Even the cheapest donkey cart costs over 10 taels of silver. If someone could secretly get their hands on it, it would be enough to feed a family for a whole year. You, without someone from the trade to guide you, losing money is a small matter. The real fear is running into someone with a dark heart and losing your life." At this point, the old man lowered his voice even more. "When you leave the market, watch to see if you're being followed by a man with a mole between his eyebrows. Or someone with shifty eyes and a pointy chin, wearing a tattered blue cloth jacket. If you see them, it means you've been targeted. You need to be careful. I don't want to see this donkey cart of mine back in this market tomorrow. Waiting for a new buyer. With that said, the old man turned his head and called out to a man sitting on a flatbed cart not far away. Sanner, hitch up the cart for this young brother. And see him out of the market. Zhao Ming turned his head and glanced cautiously. He saw a stoutly built man pulling the flatbed cart, hitching it to the black donkey, then handing him the reins and the whip. Let's go, I'll see you out of the market. Thank you so much, my good man. Upon hearing that, Zhao Ming quickly expressed his thanks and jumped onto the cart. A moment later, under the escort of this strong man, Zhao Ming left the market with the things he had bought. And loaded them all onto the donkey cart. Be careful on your way, the strong man said, before striding back to the market. He ran up to his own father. He's on his way. Let's go. We need to buy a few things, then it's time for us to head back. The old man nodded, then clasped his hands behind his back and got up, ready to leave. But just as they were about to leave, several malicious gazes were cast in their direction. Seeing this, the old man immediately smiled. How interesting, someone thinks the two of us are easy prey. Hearing this, the strong man said nothing. He just silently tightened his grip on his bamboo pole, his eyes narrowing as he vigilantly glanced from side to side. Last time, I wasn't ruthless enough. You won't stop me this time, will you? Kill anyone who's asking for it. After saying this, the old man left without another word. Not far away, a few men glanced at each other. They didn't say much, their eyes just turned to the middle-aged man on their left with a mole between his eyebrows. Brother Pao, what do you think? That old bastard is not to be trifled with. Let's leave him be for now. Lao Chi, you come with me. The rest of you, stay here and keep watch. Steal what you can, rob what you can. Yes, sir. Outside the county town, the gate guard was endlessly rummaging through his cart. Even after Zhao Ming slipped him some copper coins, he still refused to let him pass. Seeing this, Zhao Ming frowned. Something's not right here, there must be a catch. All right, you can go now. Suddenly, one of the guards shouted. Zhao Ming, who was just wondering what to do, was overjoyed. He quickly complied, cracking the whip to get the donkey moving. However, just as Zhao Ming was leaving, two figures quietly appeared. One of them was the man with the mole between his eyebrows, who was clearly up to no good. As he passed the town gate, the middle-aged man called Brother Pao didn't forget to look at the guard, giving the two guards at the gate a meaningful look. Seeing this, the guards gave a slight smile, a silent understanding passing between them. When it came to this kind of shady business, they were old partners. The people driving carts out of the city each day were almost all familiar faces. If they encountered a new face, they just had to stall them for the time it takes 2 incense sticks to burn. If someone from the market came looking for them, they would be let go. If Brother Pao's crew succeeded in their robbery, a cut of 2 taels of silver would surely appear at their homes. If the robbery failed, it had nothing to do with them, the guards. After all, they hadn't taken part in the robbery themselves. Of course, we're just stalling for time. No one from the market has shown up yet, which means the driver hasn't become prey. They'll let him pass as usual. This kid has quite a load of goods on his donkey cart. We'll get our cut later. No problem. Hearing this, Brother Pao quickly nodded. He immediately sped up, rushing toward Zhao Ming, while Zhao Ming, driving the cart, desperately cracked his whip. Unfortunately, this black donkey wasn't very fast to begin with. Now, pulling such a large cart, it was even slower. Damn it, kid. Stop. Seeing this, Brother Pao and Lao Chi, who were following, grew anxious and gave chase at full speed. Seeing the 2 figures had already caught up behind him, Zhao Ming steeled himself and let out a low cry. He psyched himself up. Damn it. I'll risk it all. With that, Zhao Ming abruptly pulled the reins, jumped off the donkey cart, and then fumbled for something inside his robes. Bag of copper coins wrapped in old cloth clattered and scattered onto the ground, and he quickly pulled out a 10-tael silver note, folded until it was soft. He tossed it onto the pile of copper coins, then, with feigned terror and a slight tremble in his voice, he said, "Brave sirs, let's talk this over. Take the money for drinks. Just let me go. How about it?" The leader, Brother Pao, stopped a few steps away. His broad, scarred face held a hint of a smile. He first glanced at the money on the ground, a flicker of greed in his eyes. Just as he was about to pick it up, a gust of wind blew through the grass. He then abandoned the thought of picking up the money and stared straight at Zhao Ming. "Ha, you, kid, you know the score, huh? But, I'll be taking your money. And I'll be taking the goods on your cart, too. And we'll have to take your life as well. If we don't kill you, you'll just go to the county magistrate and turn us in. How are my brothers and I supposed to live then? Lao Chi, you do it." Hearing this, the tall, thin man called Lao Chi shot forward, short blade in hand, flashing with a cold light as it came straight for Zhao Ming. Zhao Ming's pupils shrank. He twisted his body and dove toward the thick grass by the roadside. Haha, you think you can get away? If you do, I'll eat my hat. Lao Chi's face was full of contempt. He leapt after him. However, in that instant of pursuit, Zhao Ming, who had been running for his life, suddenly spun around. He took the chance to fling the chili powder hidden in his sleeve straight into Lao Chi's face. My eyes. Lao Chi was caught completely by surprise. He instinctively clutched his eyes, screaming in agony. Seeing this, Zhao Ming didn't hesitate for a moment. The dagger from within his robes was already in his hand, and without a word, he plunged it into Old Seven. Old Seven only felt a sharp pain in his abdomen and subconsciously tried to cover it. However, the next moment, the dagger was yanked out, and then instantly plunged into his throat. Warm blood gushed out in an instant, flowing down his neck, soaking his clothes as his body fell stiffly to the ground. Seeing this, Zhao Ming stepped forward and snatched the dagger from his hand, then headed straight for that Pao Zhe. He saw that Pao Zhe had his ass in the air, rummaging through the grass, and at the moment he found the silver notes. Just as he was rejoicing, he heard Old Seven's miserable scream. Just as he was getting up to check, a dagger was thrown fiercely at him. Pao Zhe dodged in a panic and turned his head, on alert. He saw Zhao Ming standing not far behind his own bag. Not bad, kid, you actually managed to kill Old Seven. You've got some skill. Zhao Ming said nothing, merely throwing another dagger. You're trying that again? Pao Zhe raised his hand, swatting it away with his saber. Then, with a look of disdain, he said, I've trained in martial arts. A cheap trick like that is useless against me. A trick? Then eat another one of my throwing knives. Seeing this, Zhao Ming roared. He pulled something from his sleeve and threw it fiercely. TCH, useless. Pao Zhe, full of disdain, still raised his saber to knock it away. However, at the moment his saber struck, the expected sound of clashing metal never came. Instead, a cloud of chili powder burst forth, hitting him square in the face. Two sensations instantly overwhelmed his body, and tears streamed down his face. He couldn't even stop himself from sneezing, and how could Zhao Ming let an opportunity like this go? The dagger hidden on his calf was immediately drawn. He drove it into Pao Zhe's abdomen. Asterisk peeved. Suffering a heavy blow, Pao Zhe's body instinctively stiffened for a moment. And in that exact moment, Zhao Ming's dagger pierced through his chest again. A fatal blow. Looking at Pao Zhe, who had followed in Old Seven's footsteps, killed by his own 2 stabs, Zhao Ming snorted coldly. Martial arts? What fucking use is it? A packet of chili powder is all it took. Zhao Ming spat disdainfully. Then, he stabbed Pao Zhe's neck with the dagger one more time to make sure he was completely dead. Only then did he turn to pick up the 2 daggers that had been dodged earlier. Rip, with a gentle slide of Zhao Ming's dagger. The man's cotton clothes were cut open. Zhao Ming reached out, fumbling around in both of their chests, and sure enough, he pulled out some copper coins. He counted them carefully. There were well over 100 yuan. Besides that, there was also a token. The token, which had been handled for who knows how long, had its 4 corners worn smooth with a patina and was stained with ink. Engraved on it were the 2 words, Black Tiger. The Black Tiger Gang. Seeing this, Zhao Ming frowned slightly. The Black Tiger Gang was one of the more well-known gangs in Kangshan County, with nearly 100 members, it was said. Besides their usual business of collecting protection fees from 2 streets, they would also engage in some petty theft. The reason the county magistrate didn't eliminate them is because every year, the Black Tiger Gang would provide quite a few men to fill the military conscription quota. The second reason is that the leader of the Black Tiger Gang would pay him a hefty tribute in silver. Before my father and brother went to the front lines, they often used to hunt and come into the city to sell their game. They were extorted more than a few times back then. So, I guess this counts as getting a little revenge for my father and brother. Zhao Ming muttered to himself, it's just a shame that these 2 were broke as hell. No wonder they tried to pull a fast one on me. After muttering to himself again, Zhao Ming dragged the bodies on the ground into the bushes. He glanced left and right, and seeing that no one had noticed, he then hopped onto the donkey cart and cracked the whip, heading toward Zhao Family Gully. The moonlight was thick, spilling over the land. In the swaying motion, the scattered shadows of trees were faintly visible, as crows cawed from the cold branches. At that moment, a high autumn wind began to blow. A cold frost was settling in. And because of the cold, the dark clouds in the night sky were thin, making the moonlit path appear exceptionally bright. Even without a lantern, the road home was clearly visible. The only issue was that he was moving a bit slowly. The cart, with its slightly grinding axle, sounded extremely jarring as it swayed in the darkness. Zhao Ming squinted, the candied fruit he had bought still in his mouth. As he gazed at the approaching Zhao family gully, he felt an indescribable thrill in his heart. Now, there was meat at home, money in his pocket and grain on the cart, and a gorgeous sister-in-law who served him with her whole heart and soul. Soon, he would finally be able to live the good life. Although this life was nothing compared to his previous one, at least he had been reborn for a second chance, huh? Suddenly, the walking black donkey let out a bray, making a strange sound, just as he was enjoying the sweet taste in his mouth and fantasizing about the future. Zhao Ming was startled and subconsciously reached for his sleeve. 2 daggers were already in his hands. The only remaining pouch of chili powder had already been quietly cut with a small slit. If the situation was unclear, his only greeting would be a face full of chili powder. Cough, cough, cough. Big brother, slow down. Second brother is hurt too badly, and my chest. I think it's fractured. A low, faint voice suddenly came from the side. Turning his head warily, he saw the one speaking was Zhao Di, dressed in ragged clothes and coughing non-stop. Zhao Ming was alarmed at the sight. Zhao Hai, Zhao Tian, Zhao Di. These 3 sworn brothers were no ordinary men. According to the intel from his system, these 3 guys had likely ambushed and killed many people. Now that they were injured, he guessed they got hurt while trying to rob someone else. At that thought, a flicker of nervousness went through Zhao Ming. These guys were all desperados, they had a lot of blood on their hands. I need to be careful, better hold back for now. When we get home, Dad and Mom have medicine for our wounds. Once we get through tonight, we'll go into the city tomorrow to find a doctor. Zhao Hai glanced at his younger brother and comforted him in a low voice. As he spoke, he couldn't help but lean towards his shoulder, where a knife was still stuck. He didn't dare pull it out right now. This time, their haul was pretty good. The 3 of them had basically gathered enough tax money for their military service. At least they could live peacefully for the next few years. They could also take good care of their parents, so they wouldn't starve to death in this year of famine. Third brother, I'll carry. Who? Just as Zhao Hai was about to lend a hand, he suddenly looked alertly to the side. He saw a donkey cart, which was now wobbling its way toward them. It looked like it was also headed to Zhao family gully. Brother Hai, you're back so late. Did something happen? You're Zhao Ming? Seeing someone greet him, Zhao Hai's eyes immediately widened. Full of disbelief, Zhao Ming and his widowed sister-in-law. They're the poorest folks in the village. Who doesn't know they're so poor they're about to sell their own asses? How is it that in the blink of an eye, he's come back pulling a donkey cart? Am I seeing things? Zhao Hai rubbed his eyes, muttering, Big brother. You're not seeing things. That kid really has struck it rich. Zhao Di, who was beside him, muttered in a low voice, his eyes holding a hint of greed. Of course, Zhao Hai knew what his younger brother was implying. If they could really rob him, that would be for the best. But this place was already near Zhao family gully. If word got out, then the reputation of the 3 of them would be ruined. Even their parents would probably get dragged into it. Besides, when Zhao Ming's father was alive, he and their own father were on good terms. And finally, the most important point was that the 3 of them were injured. Wounded, even. Besides, right now, although Zhao Ming was greeting them, his face was full of vigilance, and it looked like he was gripping something in his hand. Moreover, there was a faint smell of blood on him. From this, one could tell, this guy was no pushover. Making a move on him probably wouldn't end well. Brother Zhao Ming, you've really transformed. You've become a rich man. Where did you make your fortune? Mind letting your brothers in on it? Ha ha ha, this thing isn't mine. If I really owned this donkey cart, that would be great. Zhao Ming laughed it off. Then he changed the subject. It's getting late. I should be getting back. Everyone. See you around. After waving his hand, Zhao Ming drove the donkey cart past the men, but his eyes remained fixed on the 3 of them. The dagger hidden in his sleeve was still gripped tightly. If these 3 made any sudden moves, that chili powder was ready to be thrown, as the 3 Zhao brothers stared directly at Zhao Ming. Only after Zhao Ming's figure had receded into the distance did they shake their heads and sigh. That kid, he's really different than he used to be. He's surprisingly alert, but what good will that do him? Zhao Di said with a sneer, once we brothers have healed from our injuries, we'll have plenty of time to pull a job on him. Our dad always used to say, dragon meat in the heavens is the most fragrant and donkey meat on earth is the most delicious. Later, we'll slaughter that donkey and feed it to our dad. We'll take the cart to town and sell it on the sly. I refuse to believe no one will want it. Third brother's right. Second brother, Zhao Tian, also nodded. That kid must have hit a windfall. A fortune that big, there's no way he can handle it. If you ask me, it's something only we brothers can handle. Hee hee. Second brother is right. After we've taken care of that kid Zhao Ming, doesn't he still have that widowed sister-in-law? Big brother, it just so happens you don't have a wife. If you take his sister-in-law for yourself, wouldn't that be perfect? At these words, an idea sparked in Zhao Hai's mind. He was clearly, truly tempted by the idea. Zhaojia village. At this moment, Gao Shusho had already prepared the meal and was leaning on the doorframe. She gazed into the distance, just like a wife awaiting her husband's return. It's so late already, why hasn't he returned? Oh, please don't let anything have happened to him, Gao Shusho muttered to herself. She couldn't help but press her hands together, praying under her breath. Ancestors of the Zhao family, please watch over him. Please keep Zhao Ming from any harm. He is the only heir the Zhao family has left. Just as Gao Shusho's whisper faded, suddenly, the groan of a cart's axle sounded, and Gao Shusho instantly tensed up. She instinctively grabbed the wooden stick beside her, her eyes darting to the side. She stared fixedly at the source of the sound. After a moment, a donkey cart came into view, with Zhao Ming on it, smiling and waving. Sister-in-law, I'm here. Zhao Ming. Upon seeing this, Gao Shusho's eyes went wide, and she instinctively ran toward him. She couldn't stop stroking the donkey head. A donkey cart. Where did you get this donkey cart from? And it's not just the cart. Sister-in-law, look. I even bought a lot of other things. There's stuff to eat and drink, things to use, and clothes to wear. There's so much. Let's get inside first. Hearing these words, Gao Shusho was in disbelief. She stared straight at Zhao Ming. Is all of this for us? That's right. It's all ours. Sister-in-law, we're going to have a good life from now on. At his words, tears instantly welled up in Gao Shusho's eyes. Then they formed into large drops and streamed down from the corners of her eyes, splashing onto the ground. This is wonderful. The ancestors are watching over us. They're truly watching over us. As she spoke, Gao Shusho wiped away her tears. Finally, she clasped her hands together in front of the family's ancestral shrine. She muttered, Ancestors of the Zhao family, hear me. Your daughter-in-law, Gao Shusho, will be sure to burn more paper money for you. Seeing his sister-in-law in such a state, Zhao Ming didn't stop her, but rather, his heart ached as he helped her wipe away her tears. Don't cry, sister-in-law. You must be hungry. Come on. I made dinner a while ago. I was just waiting for you to come back. Oh, right. Have you prepared the money for the military service tax? If you haven't, we'll sell the donkey cart tomorrow. It's already been prepared. Look, sister-in-law. Zhao Ming quickly pulled out the banknotes he had left, staring at the stack of notes. Gao Shusho was even more stunned, her hands trembling. She slowly took them and, by the light of the moon, held them in front of her to examine them closely, then couldn't help but gasp. They're real. They're all real. Zhao Ming, where on earth did you get all this? Don't worry, the money was come by honestly. While I was wandering in the mountains, I found 2 ginseng roots. I sold them, and just like that, we have money. Not only that, sister-in-law, look. I also bought you a lot of clothes from the cart. Clothes? Why are you spending money recklessly? In our family's situation, as long as we don't freeze to death, it's fine. You have to save the money. Just in case. Hearing this, Zhao Ming immediately shook his head. No, Gao Shusho lifted her head. Looking at Zhao Ming, she saw that he had become bolder. He took hold of his sister-in-law's hand, while his other hand went around her waist to pull her into an embrace, his palm landing squarely right on her left buttock. The two of them were now pressed tightly together. Zhao Ming looked down at her, his breath warm on Gao Shusho's face. What are you doing, sister-in-law? I promise that from now on, I will let you live a life where you can eat meat and grain. I know, now let me go. Blushing, Gao Shusho pushed Zhao Ming away and ran toward the house. Sister-in-law, don't run. Quick, help me move the grain into the cellar. We'll take the other things inside and sort them out there. The wooden bed is being delivered tomorrow. When it arrives, we won't have to sleep on a broken wooden board anymore. What? Gao Shusho, who had started to leave, returned, looking at him in disbelief. You also bought a wooden bed? Of course I did. Isn't that being too ostentatious? Right now, everyone in the village is so poor, and all of a sudden our family has become rich. Won't someone get jealous and do something bad in the middle of the night? Hearing this, Zhao Ming was taken aback. He couldn't help but think about the nature of the villagers, hating those who have, and laughing at those who have not. He frowned as well, but on second thought, he had the system with him. If there was really any sign of trouble, the system would probably alert him. Thinking of this, Zhao Ming comforted her in a reassuring voice. Sister-in-law, don't you worry. I'll handle everything. Nothing's going to happen. A moment later, the two of them moved the grain into the home's cellar. Then they started a fire and cooked a pot of congee. Paired with the dog meat, the two of them ate with great relish. Sister-in-law, I bought some clothes especially for you. You can change into them later. After the meal, Zhao Ming whispered, what a waste of that money. Gao Shusho's lips were saying this, but her heart felt exceptionally sweet. Earlier, she had already felt the clothes Zhao Ming mentioned, clothes made from the finest fabric. They were even better than the clothes made for her wedding. At this moment, her heart was filled with a sweetness, a kind of indescribable joy. Any money spent on you, sister-in-law, is worth it, no matter how much. Hee, Zhao Ming chuckled playfully. Then he turned his head, looked alertly out the window, and suddenly said, "Sister-in-law, I see the weather's getting colder too. Just sleeping on the wooden planks won't do. How about, we put the wooden planks together, lay down the bedding, and sleep close to each other? At least it'll be a bit warmer." Hearing this, Gao Shusho froze for a moment, her eyes watching Zhao Ming warily. Before, the family was dirt poor. To continue the Zhao family line, she had to mentally prepare herself to give her body to Zhao Ming and bear him an heir. But now, the family was no longer short of money. If she were to really give herself to Zhao Ming, it wasn't that she was unwilling. It's just that she was a bit afraid of what others might say. Thinking of this, Gao Shusho felt conflicted. After a long pause, she finally mumbled quietly, I'm going to go try on the clothes." With that, Gao Shusho left. Zhao Ming, on the other hand, scratched his head. After a moment, he sighed. "Never mind, I'll wait until the house is in better shape. It won't be too late to ask then. Besides, my body hasn't fully recovered yet. What if I couldn't last more than 3 seconds? That would be mortifying." Thinking of this, Zhao Ming said no more and just silently went to lay out the bedding. Meanwhile, on the other side, in the thatched hut just a wall away, on a mattress made of hay and stitched together scrap cloth, was Gao Shusho, who had long since changed into her new clothes, model. At this moment, blushing, she half turned her head to stare at the doorway hidden by the straw curtain. After waiting for a long time without seeing any sign of Zhao Ming, she finally muttered to herself, "He has the desire, but not the courage. I got my hopes up for nothing." At that thought, Gao Shusho looked down at a piece of white cloth she had specially prepared. This cloth had long since oxidized and turned yellow. When brother Zhao Ming married her, he had been injured, so they still hadn't consummated their marriage. This cloth was meant to be placed underneath her to catch the blood and prove her virginity. This proof of her purity had been kept all this time. Oh well, there's still plenty of time. Having saved herself for so many years, Gao Shusho had never been touched by another man. But ever since she convinced herself to bear an heir for the Zhao family, she had made up her mind. Her body was to be saved for Zhao Ming. After carefully putting the cloth away, Gao Shusho lay on the plank bed, her gaze drifting towards the window as she got lost in thought. She couldn't help but fantasize about what her future life with Zhao Ming would be like. That boy, he has the desire, but not enough courage. The next day, the autumn wind howled. A cold frost had set in, and the broken door creaked and rattled noisily. The sound was clearly audible. He had wanted to stay curled up on the plank bed and get some proper rest, but Zhao Ming slowly opened his eyes. A faint aroma of meat, mixed with the smell of dough, wafted in. After getting out of bed, he headed to the kitchen and saw Gao Shusho kneading dough. "Are you hungry? This morning, we're having meat buns. As it happens, we still have some wild greens left. I chopped them up and kneaded them into the dough. When you fry them in a bit of lard, they're incredibly fragrant. Make sure you eat plenty later." Hearing this, Zhao Ming smiled and nodded, his heart filled with a sweet warmth. Knock, knock, knock. Suddenly, a series of urgent knocks came from the door. Brother Ming. Hearing the knocking, Zhao Ming paused, surprised. A little curious, he went and opened the door. He saw a young boy with a runny nose, who was using his greasy, blackened sleeve to wipe his nose as he looked up and spoke. "Lu Guzi, what's going on?" "Brother Ming, someone's here to see you. Take a look. I think they're from Lord Zhao's estate." A laugh came from the side. Zhao Ming turned his head. There, on a donkey cart, were several wooden planks and 2 bamboo mats. "Name's Dong. This old man delivers goods for the Li family's shop in town. You left a deposit there yesterday. So today, before dawn, I got up and got everything packed. Come and have a look. 2 wooden bed frames, and they come with 2 free bamboo mats. Isn't that right?" When Zhao Ming heard this, he hurried forward, glanced over the donkey cart, and then nodded with a cheerful smile. "It really is. Quick. Hurry and come inside." "All right, Master Zhao, where would you like this bed installed?" "I'll install it for you right now. Let's go to the west room first. Just install it next to that wooden board." "All right. Please just wait a moment." Upon hearing this, old man Dong immediately smiled cheerfully and went back to the donkey cart, draping a tattered cloth vest over his shoulders. Then, he started moving that wooden plank bed into the house. Meanwhile, the young kid next to him just tilted his head up and muttered under his breath, "Brother Erming, you've struck it rich. You're even using a bed now. That's something only wealthy families can afford. My mom said these 2 beds must cost at least 3 or 4 taels of silver. At the village entrance, a lot of people are talking about you." They're saying you don't know how to manage your money, that you're just showing off now that you have some. Trying to copy rich people by sleeping on a bed. They said you'd be better off spending 120 wen to have someone build an earthen Kong bed for your family. Hearing this, Zhao Ming's expression was calm. Well, that's the village for you. That's just how they are. Harsh places breed harsh people. It's perfectly normal, especially since everyone was getting along just fine being poor. But then one of their own suddenly gets rich, and their jealousy takes over. Who wouldn't make a few snide remarks? Oh, who exactly was saying it? There was third auntie, sixth granny, and also third great uncle and fourth lady. Lu Guzi muttered under his breath, counting on his fingers. After he finished, Lu Guzi looked up, wearing a well-behaved expression. Brother Erming, did you really strike it rich? I heard that your family has a donkey cart now. Zhao Hai told me. Thinking of the three brothers he met last night, Zhao Ming asked in return. Yeah, I bet that in the village. Someone will be coming around soon to ask you how you got all these things. Hearing this, Zhao Ming gave a cold laugh. Ask, those sons of bitches, as if I don't know what they're after. They just want to leech off me and get something for nothing. Lu Guzi, thanks. If you hear anything else in the future, you can always come and tell me secretly. Brother Erming will definitely make it worth your while, you hear me? Don't worry, Brother Erming. I get it. Seeing this, Lu Guzi quickly nodded, sniffing the air continuously. His eyes were fixed on the kitchen. Clearly, the aroma of noodles and meat from the pot was driving him crazy with hunger. You're hungry, aren't you? Alright, let's go get something to eat. Brother Erming, I don't think that's a good idea. Lu Guzi rubbed his nose. But his eyes were honestly glued to the kitchen. How was that inappropriate? Zhao Ming chuckled and pulled Lu Guzi towards his home. A moment later, Lu Guzi was clutching a meat pancake, taking big bites. Sister-in-law, give one to the old man installing the bed later, too. Alright, I'll remember. Gao Shusho didn't refuse, nodding slightly. Then she seemed to think of something. Are you going out again today? Should I prepare some rations for you? Hearing this, Zhao Ming was silent. His mind simply sank into the system as he recited a sentence inwardly. System, open today's intelligence report. Today's intelligence 1. At dusk, hidden inside the large locust tree at the west end of the village. The protagonist can overhear some unexpected news. Risk assessment, none. The hiding spot has been marked. Please hide in advance. Today's intelligence 2. On the mountain path, there is a tiger with a striped forehead that has come down from the mountains. It is drinking water and resting by the Bluestone Creek. After capturing it, selling it to the pharmacy in the county town will yield a large amount of silver. Risk assessment, extremely high. The protagonist has a 99% probability of being done for. Please proceed with caution. The current route has been marked. Bringing help may increase the success rate. Today's intelligence 3. Huaying Village. Widow Li's family is currently starving. She is preparing to rummage through her late husband Jay Banghai's belongings to sell. Among the belongings is a saber manual, 18 forms of the army breaker. This saber technique is an extremely good match for the host. Diligent practice will lead to rapid progress. Risk assessment, medium. Widow Li is a lovely woman, and still has her full figure. A lazy man from the same village, Wang Si, has long coveted her and desires the saber manual. This may provoke Wang Si. The current route has been marked. Seeing the 3 pieces of intelligence that popped up from the system, Zhao Ming's eyes slightly. Intelligence 2, I definitely can't go for that one. If I dared to go, wouldn't I just be a self-serve takeout meal? But this 18 forms of the army breaker is worth considering. Since that Widow Li is too poor to even cook a meal, I could just give her some food and drink. After pondering for a moment, he suddenly lifted his head, looked at his sister-in-law, and said, Sister-in-law, I actually do need to go out for a bit. Could I trouble you to prepare some things for me? What things? Food? Get a little of the fine grain. I have a use for it. Alright, seeing this, Gao Shusho quickly nodded and went to prepare. Meanwhile, Zhao Ming casually grabbed another meat pancake and stuffed it into Lu Guzi's arms. Lu Guzi, take this and eat, and remember to listen around for any gossip the villagers are spreading for me. Thank you, Brother Erming. At this, Lu Guzi's eyes lit up. While saying his thanks, he carefully tucked the meat pancake inside his clothes, then gripped the half-eaten piece he was still holding, and continued gnawing on it as he headed for the door. Zhao Ming, on the other hand, went back to his room and put the leftover chili powder back into his sleeve. He strapped daggers to both his calves, and tucked another inside his robe. Just in case. Huaying Village. The road was fairly flat, surrounded by many jujube and winter apricot trees. He even saw some firethorn bushes. In a barren year like this, when no one had enough to eat, these things were practically lifesavers. So, logically, someone should have stolen these fruits long ago. And yet, no one dared to. As for why, it was, of course, because anyone who tried had been hanged and left on display. Even from far away, you could see the dried skin and bones swaying gently in the wind, and catch a faint, foul stench. Zhao Ming had already heard all about this. This orchard belonged to the Yi family of Huaying village. Word was, the Yi family used this orchard exclusively to make their fruit preserves and date paste. Here in Huaying village, countless people had starved to death. And the reason for that was, of course, because the Yi family had used every trick in the book to seize and forcibly buy up land to plant this very orchard. Suddenly, the donkey pulling the cart started to bray, trying to head for the orchard on the side. Seeing this, Zhao Ming immediately cracked his whip across the donkey back, muttering under his breath, "You stupid donkey. Are you trying to rebel? Now, get moving." Stung by the whip, the donkey cried out in pain and displeasure, and reluctantly trudged forward, swaying as it went. Finally, they reached the entrance to Huaying village. Several burly men stood guard, holding clubs. The character for Yi was stitched onto their cuffs. "Halt, what do you want?" "Visiting relatives," Zhao Ming said with a slight smile. "Everyone in Huaying village is dirt poor. What kind of relatives could you possibly have here? You're not lying, are you, kid? Let's see what you've got on you." "What's this? Since when does entering your Huaying village require an inspection? You people act more important than the officials in the county seat." Zhao Ming said this coolly, his expression indifferent. "Hey, you little shit. Are you asking for a beating or what?" the burly man roared, instantly enraged. He violently raised the club in his hand and bellowed. "Do you have any idea where you are? This is Huaying village. The Yi family calls the shots here. Got it? Now then." "Ah Wu, put that club away. Don't be so reckless. Look, the young man has grain on his cart. He must be visiting relatives. Just let him pass," a young man next to the burly guard suddenly said in a low voice. At this, the big man gave a cold snort, but cleared the path. He waited as Zhao Ming headed into the village, and only started muttering to himself once his back was getting smaller in the distance. "Fourth young master, why did you let him go just like that? The things on his donkey cart are obviously a gift for someone. If we want them, we can just search house by house later. Besides, there are only 16 households left in Huaying village now. They're completely at our mercy anyway. Then why didn't we rob the kid too? That donkey cart must be worth a lot of money." Hearing his own subordinate ask this, fourth young master Yi rolled his eyes. He said irritably, "That kid was holding a knife. And his face was completely calm when he spoke. He obviously wasn't afraid of us. People like that are either the ruthless type, or they've killed before. It's not worth our while to fight him head on. It would be terrible if one of us died." As he said this, the burly man was taken aback, then laughed, "Haha. You're right, young master." Inside the village, Zhao Ming, of course, knew nothing of this. At this moment, he was driving his cart towards the location the system had marked as Widow Li's house. A short while later, Zhao Ming pulled the reins to a stop, looking at the courtyard ahead. It was actually built with blue bricks and tiles. Zhao Ming was stunned for a moment. A family like this, how could they be short of food and drink? It shouldn't be possible. Filled with curiosity, Zhao Ming leapt down from the cart. With a light knock of his hand, soon, the tightly shut door of the house was pulled open from within. A woman with gaunt temples, but who couldn't hide an air of elegance, asked in confusion. "May I ask who you are looking for, sir? Excuse me, is this the home of Zhe Banghai? You know my husband?" Widow Li's eyes widened. It had been almost a year since her husband died on the battlefield, and no one had ever come to visit. Now, an acquaintance was actually here. It was truly unbelievable. "I wouldn't say we know each other." Zhao Ming shook his head. "I came for the blade technique that Zhe Banghai possessed." As he spoke, Zhao Ming pointed to the rice and flour on the donkey cart and said in a low voice, "Sister-in-law, that blade technique is of no use to you. Why not give it to me? The rice and flour are a gift for you. If you want money, I happen to have a few taels in my pocket." Hearing this, Widow Li was stunned. Then, she couldn't help but cover her face and burst into tears. This really startled Zhao Ming. Why is she crying all of a sudden? "I didn't say anything wrong, did I? Sister-in-law, you..." "Oh, please don't get the wrong idea. If only you had come sooner. How wonderful it would have been." Widow Li's tears instantly soaked her collar. She sobbed with a trembling voice. "Mom. Are the bad men here again?" Just as Zhao Ming was feeling confused, he saw a child, about the same size as Lu Guzi, run over holding a kitchen knife. "Sister-in-law, my apologies. I couldn't help myself," Widow Li said, wiping away her tears. Quickly, come inside. Huzzy, go help unload the things from the donkey cart. I'll go get the things. The fine grain. I'll go right now." The fine grain, the child nodded. The fine grain. He quickly helped carry the things from the donkey cart into the house. A moment later, Zhao Ming was sitting at the table, and in front of him lay a very old-looking booklet. On it was written, "The 18 Forms of Po Jun. This is what you wanted. Take a look," Widow Li whispered. "Sister-in-law," Zhao Ming said as he flipped through it. He was very pleased and nodded quickly. "So, what else do you need? I have a few taels of silver on me. How about I give them all to you?" Hearing this, Widow Li fell silent for a moment. Then she sighed, "Silver is no use to me. Ever since a month ago, here in our Huaying village, the Yi family has been in charge. They've seized almost all the land in Huaying village. The rest of us who are left have no way to survive. We've either fled, or we've joined the Yi family as servants. Now, there are only a dozen or so families left, the old, the weak, the sick, the disabled, orphans, and widows, living off what little grain we had saved. But even so, the Yi family won't leave us alone. They come by from time to steal our things, or violate our women. They take pleasure in humiliating us. And as for reporting them to the authorities, both entrances to the village are watched, and to the east and west are the Yi family's jujube forests. The moment we step outside, we're being watched." As she said this, Gao Shusho looked up at Zhao Ming and said bitterly, "I won't be able to hide these things you've given me for long. They'll just come and take it all. As for me, it's not that I haven't thought about escaping, but I'm afraid there's no way to survive out there either. Little brother, I don't want your silver. How about you take my son with you? All I ask is that you give him something to eat." Hearing this, Zhao Ming was stunned. After a moment of thought, he shook his head. "Sister-in-law, my family has no spare food either. I'm truly sorry." In these years of great famine, he wasn't about to take on another mouth to feed. Hearing this, a dejected look appeared on Widow Li's face. Then she gave a bitter smile. "So be it, let's just leave it at that. The manual, you take it, I don't want the silver. The grain you've given me is more than enough. A month from now, come back one more time. If my son and I have starved to death by then, I'll have to trouble you to bury us." Hearing this, Zhao Ming felt a sense of helplessness. The Yi family, he was no match for them. As for, he couldn't just bring along a burden he barely knew. Thinking of this, Zhao Ming stood up and sighed softly. "Sister-in-law, I'm truly sorry. Tomorrow, I will report this to the authorities for you. Whether anything will come of it, I'm afraid we can only leave it to fate." After speaking, Zhao Ming placed a piece of silver from his robes onto the table. "Find a corner in the yard, dig a hole, and hide it. If the county magistrate actually takes up the case, you might need this later on." "Mom, why aren't we going with him?" Ah Wu, at her side, asked in confusion. "Go with him? We can't go," Li Widow thought, her heart filled with bitterness. How could they possibly get away? She was letting her own child go out. Because Ah Wu is small, and tied under the cart, he might just be able to hide and get past. But, the cart is only so big. How could it possibly hide two people? Hey, just as Li Widow's words trailed off, the tightly shut courtyard gate was suddenly kicked open. The next moment, a figure reeking of alcohol stormed in, shouting, "Damn it. Whose freaking donkey cart is that outside? Trying to get with Wang's cis woman? Are you looking to die?" Seeing this, the color drained from Li Widow's face. The child, Ah Wu, was even more furious, his small hand pressing on a kitchen knife. He hadn't forgotten that this bastard had abused his mother. "Kid, you should ask around. And find out what I, Wang Si, am capable of. You think you can just get a piece of my woman? Go find someone else," Wang Si cursed under his breath. Although Li Widow wasn't his woman, he had slept with her. And that made her his property, whether she liked it or not. But if any other man dared to get ideas about her, that would be crossing a line with him, Wang Si. Though Wang Si was an idler, among the Yi family's gang of thugs, he was the best fighter. Taking on 7 or 8 men at once was nothing to him. In these famine-stricken times, the best fighter was the top dog. If he weren't such a badass, how could he be the one who got to sleep with Li Widow? While others could only look on with envy? "Oh, brother C, this is all a misunderstanding, isn't it?" Zhao Ming said, seeing Wang Si's burly frame. He immediately broke into a wide grin. "It's me, little Zhao. Our families are relatives, you know. When we were kids, I used to follow you around everywhere." Huh? Hearing this, the drunken Wang Si froze for a moment. "Little Zhao? Did I have a playmate like this when I was a kid? Do we know each other?" "Of course we do. Look. I even have something your mother gave me," Zhao Ming said with a smile, pulling open the front of his shirt. Wang Si craned his neck to take a look. But in the instant he leaned closer. With a sharp flick of Zhao Ming's sleeve, the already opened packet of chili powder instantly flew through the air. In a flash, Wang Si was hit, his eyes burning with excruciating pain. His body instinctively began to sneeze uncontrollably, and it was during this brief moment that the dagger hidden on Zhao Ming's person was unsheathed with a flash of cold light. The dagger, thrown with all of Zhao Ming's strength, plunged straight into Wang Si's abdomen. He immediately followed up with a kick, twisting the blade and brutally severing the man's intestines and spleen. In the next moment, Wang Si let out a muffled groan. A surge of hot air mixed with bloody foam rushed up his throat. Even with his eyes squeezed shut, his large hand shot out and gripped Zhao Ming's arm, trying to tear him away. However, the agonizing pain in his abdomen left his arms weak. Swish. Seeing this, Zhao Ming lifted his leg and reached down to his right calf. Another dagger was pulled into his hand. The next instant, it struck true, right in the other side of the man's abdomen. Thud. After suffering 2 fatal blows in a row, Wang Si's body collapsed heavily to the ground, falling silent. However, before Zhao Ming could even pull his dagger out, a Wu, who was standing to the side, let out a strange cry and rushed forward. He grabbed a chopper and began hacking relentlessly at Wang Si's neck. His small body was filled with an immense fury, and he swung with all his might. "That's for bullying my mother," he yelled, striking again and again. In an instant, blood flew everywhere. Zhao Ming silently watched all of this unfold. He didn't object, just watched in silence. Only when a Wu's small body was so exhausted he was panting and could no longer lift the chopper did Zhao Ming silently drag the corpse onto the donkey cart. "Sister-in-law, I'm taking the body. The official report, I'll file it for you. Whether anything comes of it, that will be up to fate." After saying this, Zhao Ming said no more, simply driving the cart towards the entrance of Huaying village. And at the village entrance, a crowd of people was waiting quietly. "Hey, the kid's coming out. Everyone, look," a burly man suddenly shouted. The crowd whipped their heads around, and in the next moment, their expressions changed drastically. Their eyes filled with a degree of shock, because they could clearly see on the donkey cart, a person's corpse had appeared from out of nowhere. Seeing this, everyone was utterly stunned, but Zhao Ming's face remained calm. He knew what these bastards were thinking. And Zhao Ming's reason for dragging the corpse was simple. It was for 2 words. Intimidation. With this body on display, this bunch of dogs would definitely behave themselves and wouldn't dare cause any trouble. As for the reason, it wasn't because of him, but because he would use a powerful name as a shield. Wang Si. That's Wang Si's body, one of the Yi family's thugs. Immediately whispered, "Damn kid. To kill one of the Yi family's men and then have the nerve to drag the body out in the open like this. It's like he thinks we're already dead." One of the Yi family's thugs growled in a low voice. His eyes flashed with fury. "Fourth young master. Should we make a move? Go over and check it out?" The 4th young master of the Yi family waved his hand, and the group quickly moved to surround them. Zhao Ming, however, calmly tossed the dagger in his hand aside, a smirk playing on his lips. With a hint of mockery, he said, "What? Want to avenge this man, boy? Coming all the way to Huaying village to kill someone? You've got some serious nerve." Hearing this, Zhao Ming turned his head, his expression calm. He scoffed inwardly with disdain. "I killed a man. And I was well within my rights. This person harassed the widow of the late commander of the mountain character camp, under Left Marshal Mo of our Great Choose Border Army. Naturally, he deserved to die." What? Upon hearing this, everyone present stared with wide-open eyes. The Left Marshal, the mountain character camp? Didn't Widow Li's husband already die? And no death benefits ever arrived for her. That's why we dared to be so bold. How could it be that after all this time, someone actually showed up? "You're from the army?" The 4th young master of the Yi family said in disbelief. "A centurion of the Bing camp? You're supposed to be a centurion?" The 4th young master was incredulous. Zhao Ming said nothing. He just pointed at the corpse. "This guy's skills weren't half bad. It's just a shame I finished him in 2 moves. As for the ragged wound on his neck, that was caused by Mrs. Li's son. In the mountain character camp, there are a total of 107 men like me. In addition, there are 800 veterans and 3,700 support soldiers who have survived countless battles. My promotion to centurion was earned by fighting my way up through the ranks of these men. If any of you gentlemen think I'm bluffing, you're more than welcome to test me. Of course, you could also use some dirty tricks to kill me. However, my brothers in the mountain character camp, as well as the 2 second-rank senior generals under Left Marshal Mo, would most likely come to demand an explanation." Hearing these words, the 4th young master's face turned pale. In this day and age, who holds the most power? The emperor? Bullshit. His authority is only effective in the imperial capital and the 2 surrounding provinces. Beyond those 2, imperial power doesn't mean much in other places. At the very least, he's powerless to control the regional military forces. Nowadays, the ones with real ability, the ones with strong backing, are mostly the men who command troops. Those generals who hold military power have personal guards by their side who are all fierce men, clad in armor, wielding sharp blades, and skilled with a bow on horseback. 10 riders. All it takes is 10 riders. To easily destroy a village and annihilate a town. In this day and age, offending the army is no small matter. The number of people who've been secretly wiped out isn't small, and that even includes some prominent families. Wouldn't dare to easily offend their own Yi family. They just throw their weight around in town, to clash with the army. That's purely like an egg hitting a rock, asking for death, brother. What you said. Is it true? Fourth young Master Yi, swallowing his saliva, his eyes filled with a bit of fear. Zhao Ming couldn't be bothered to respond, just silently offered 4 words. Consider yourselves warned. With that, Zhao Ming flicked the whip in his hand, striking the black donkey. Soon, the black donkey swayed away, staring at Zhao Ming's departing figure. The crowd stood there in silence. Fourth young master, shouldn't we make a ruthless move and get rid of him? Idiot. The fourth young master of the Yi family immediately cursed. His eyes were full of anger. Are you damn well trying to get us all killed or not? Offend the army, and it's not just you who's finished. Our entire Yi family will be done for. With this kind of thing, it's better to believe it's true. You can't afford to believe it's not. Besides, for this kid to be able to kill Wang Si alone and without a sound means his skills are not to be underestimated. If we really started a fight, and that little bastard decided to only aim for me, I'm asking you, what would we do then? Hearing this, the men were suddenly at a loss for words, not knowing how to reply. Fourth young master, then what do you suggest we do about this? Didn't we take that piece of land from Widow Li's family? Just consider it requisitioned from her. I'll speak to my father later and make up the payment in silver. Also, from now on, you all better keep it in your damn pants. Don't get any ideas you shouldn't be getting. If that Widow Li leaves the village, just send someone to follow her. As long as she doesn't enter the city to report to the authorities, it'll be fine. Besides, we're dozens of miles of mountain roads away from the county seat. If she really wanted to report us, I'm afraid her legs wouldn't even carry her there. Not to mention, on the 2 fork road stations leading to the county seat, I have people from the Yi family stationed there long term. With just those dozen or so hopeless households left in the village, do you think they have what it takes? Seeing the fourth young master of the Yi family speak this way, the few men beside him began to chime in with flattery. The fourth young master's arrangements are flawless. Truly a man of superior intellect. Meanwhile, Zhao Ming, who had left Huaying village, turned his head to glance back cautiously. Looking at the village that was gradually disappearing from view, he muttered to himself. Sister-in-law Li, this is all I am capable of. It is not that I am unwilling to bring your son out, but that I cannot. If my identity were exposed, they would surely think I was trying to cross them. For now, I'm just pulling the tiger's skin over myself, borrowing its might to intimidate them. I think this should be enough to hold them off for a while. With the food and money I gave, you should be able to live a peaceful life for a while. In the future, when I become stronger, I will naturally save you from this sea of suffering. With that said, Zhao Ming whipped the donkey to speed back to Zhao family village. It wasn't that Zhao Ming didn't want to report it to the authorities, but that he couldn't. Once he reported it, the county bailiffs would surely make him come along to verify the story. At that point, his fake identity as a soldier would be exposed. Military and local officials have never gotten along. The military has always been domineering. How could they possibly ask for help from local officials? If he were exposed, he was afraid he would completely offend the Yi family. At that point, Widow Li's life would probably be in danger. Besides, Zhao Ming had no idea what kind of person the county magistrate was, and it was currently a year of famine. The Great Chu dynasty's control over its territories was getting weaker, and the people were already suffering unbearably under oppression. It was common for officials everywhere to be relentlessly corrupt and exploit the people from time to time. If the Yi family had already bribed the county magistrate, and he went to report it himself, wouldn't that be like walking right into a trap? The donkey cart swayed along. Before long, he was already back in the village. After returning home and putting the donkey cart away, Zhao Ming carefully ran to the hollow locust tree mentioned by the system. Speaking of this hollow tree, it had been around for many years. Ever since Zhao Ming was born, this tree had always been there. In past famine years when people were starving, the leaves and flowers that grew on this locust tree were the rations that filled everyone's stomachs. But it was a pity that after all these years, the tree was already mostly dead. After Zhao Ming silently hid himself inside, he then waited. He was very curious to know what kind of good news staying here would bring him. As the sun set and dusk arrived, just as the night suddenly grew dark, a rustling sound was heard. Soon, a series of footsteps followed. Zhao Ming, who was hidden inside the hollow locust tree and was about to fall sound asleep, suddenly opened his eyes, then quietly perked up his ears to listen to what was being said outside. Old man Li, let's proceed as we discussed before. Of course, the higher-ups have spoken. We need to collect this winter tax. The soldiers on the border are suffering in the cold and lack jackets. So they have to ask us for tax money. By the way, old Zhao, how much do you think we should make them donate? Old man Li turned to look at the old man in black robes beside him. The higher-ups are asking for a donation of 2 mace of silver. We'll just make them donate 3 mace of silver. If anyone can't pay up, hee. Have them sell themselves to a broker. If they're unwilling, then we'll just show them another way out. What do you mean? Old man Li was confused. The villagers are already so poor they're about to sell their pants. What other way out could there possibly be? But the old man in black robes had a calm expression, the corners of his mouth turning up in a faint smile. Don't we have a new moneybags in our village? If everyone doesn't want to pay up, then why not just make this upstart pay for it? Find a reason to drown that Gao Shusho in a pig cage. As for Zhao Ming, we'll beat him to death with clubs. The assets left behind will definitely be enough to pay the tax. This is for the good of the entire village. Who do you think would dare to disagree? Hearing this, that old man Li said nothing. He just stroked the goatee on his chin, lost in thought. After a moment, he suddenly slapped his thigh, his eyes glinting as he spoke slowly. In our Zhaojia gully, it's your Zhao clan that calls all the shots. You're the clan elder, and you're also the village chief of Zhaojia gully. What you say goes. So, I'll follow your lead. But, putting Gao Shusho in the drowning cage. We need a proper reason, don't we? Hearing this, old man Zhao let out a hearty laugh. I am the clan elder. I decide all important matters for the clan. That Gao Shusho has been unvirtuous, carrying on with her own brother-in-law. It's a violation of all decency and morals. Therefore, the village has decided she will be put in the drowning cage. As for that brat Zhao Ming, he'll be punished with a beating. Of course, if the boy can't handle the beating, and ends up dying, well, that's nobody's fault, is it? Upon hearing this, old man Li clicked his tongue. Old Zhao, you're really something else. I'll listen to you. Let's do it just like that. But, we can't just get rid of Gao Shusho like that. Drowning her would be such a waste. With a face like hers, we could make a fortune selling her to a brothel in the county. And as it happens, my son, Jia, works at the Kui house there. I'll have him ask around. If they're interested, we'll just throw her in a sack, load her onto the donkey cart, take her to the city, and sell her. We'll split the silver between our 2 families afterwards. How about it? No problem. Hearing this, clan elder Zhao broke into a wide grin, unable to hide his delight. This way, he'd get his hands on several more taels of silver. Alright, let's do it. Tomorrow morning, you gather everyone and announce the matter of collecting taxes. Every household is bound to complain. That's when I'll step in and bring up what's happening with Zhao Ming's family. These folks aren't stupid. The moment this is brought up, they'll know exactly what needs to be done. Inside the hollow of the locust tree, Zhao Ming, who had heard everything, could barely contain the furious, murderous rage in his eyes. His sister-in-law had never wronged anyone. She had worked so hard, with her own 2 hands, to finally make a little money, to earn a bit of silver. He never thought they would be targeted for it. And it wasn't by strangers. It was his own granduncle, the elder of the Zhao clan. And that old man Li, he was even worse. He always walks around with a smile on his face, looking so kind and friendly. Who could have imagined he was so vile in private? Thank goodness he'd listened to the system's intel today. Hiding in this hollow tree, he'd overheard their entire conversation. If he hadn't, he would have been completely in the dark. Old Li, once we've settled things, how many men can you get? I'll get a few men myself. We'll break into their house under the cover of darkness, and tie them both up. As for their donkey cart, as for the other silver and valuables, we'll figure out the total value later. The grain, let's not take it for our 2 families. We'll split it among those brats who did the dirty work. As for Gao Shusho, keep an eye on her. Don't let those men get any funny ideas. That little widow has a fiery spirit. If they really try to force her, she might just bash her own head in and kill herself. Then she'll be difficult to sell. Hearing this, old head Li nodded with a wide grin. Don't worry, what's the big deal? This isn't the first time we've done something like this. The Zhao Dong family, and the Li Si family, weren't they dealt with by us in the same way? It's precisely because we dealt with them, that our grandson has the money to study at the county school. Hearing this, that clan elder Zhao also chuckled and nodded. Although it's a famine year, and every family is poor, you can't rule out someone getting lucky. Finding some treasure in the mountains, and showing off their wealth. Usually, when faced with this situation, if that family is obedient and hands over some money, we let it go. But if they play dumb and spend it secretly themselves, without showing us any respect, then we have plenty of ways to deal with them. After we've destroyed them, their entire family's fortune falls into our 2 old hands. Over the years, the families we've destroyed are far more than just the 2 of Li Si. The eldest sons of both our families bought houses and found work in the county seat long ago. The reason they're not willing to go to the county seat and enjoy a life of leisure is firstly, if they left, there'd be no one to manage the fields at home. And secondly, if they left, they wouldn't be able to squeeze money out of these mud-legged peasants in Zhao family gully anymore. I hope we can get a bigger haul this time. If we get enough, then when you and I go into the city to see the kids at the end of the year, we'll book a table at Kuifeng Tower. Don't worry. Old Zhao, that brat Zhao Ming dares to buy a cart, which means he must have a lot of silver to spare. You and I, we're about to stuff our pockets with silver. Ha ha ha, at these words, both of them couldn't help but burst into loud laughter. However, before their laughter could fade, an untimely voice suddenly came from the tree hollow behind them. Hey, I'm afraid you won't be stuffing any money into your pockets. A blade, on the other hand. I have one ready. Here, let me help you stuff it into your chests. Old Head Li and clan elder Zhao were startled and whipped their heads around to look behind them. But under the moonlight, two cold gleams of light flashed, followed by a sharp pain in their chests. Looking down, two daggers, perfectly aimed, were plunged right into their hearts. Peefed, their hearts stopped beating instantly. From the wounds, a fine spray of blood shot onto Zhao Ming's face. Clan elder Zhao subconsciously clutched his heart, his voice hoarse and stuttering as he stared deathly at Zhao Ming. His eyes filled with both shock and indignation. But Zhao Ming, with a calm expression, forcefully twisted the blade. As a wave of excruciating pain washed over him, the Zhao clan elder leaned back and fell straight down. Seeing this, Zhao Ming fiercely drew his blade. Then he struck the Zhao clan elder's neck again, and after confirming he was completely dead, he finally turned his gaze to the equally seriously injured old man Li beside him. Zhao Ming, don't do it. It was all old man Zhao's idea. Don't kill me. I'm willing to pay to save myself. Don't you do it. Please don't. Whack, old man Li screamed at the top of his lungs. However, in the next moment, Zhao Ming still struck with his blade, killing him instantly. There wasn't the slightest hesitation. You two old bastards. If I wasn't worried someone at the village entrance would see, how could I have let you die so easily? Cursing furiously, Zhao Ming stepped forward and reached out, fumbling around inside their clothes. However, after a thorough search, he couldn't find a single thing. What the? Zhao Ming was stunned, then instantly flew into a rage. He immediately lifted his foot and kicked each of their heads. Not even half a penny on you. I finished you two off and didn't get a damn thing out of it. While he was spewing curses, Zhao Ming's hands moved quickly, dragging both men into a tree hollow. As for the dagger used to kill the two men, Zhao Ming tucked it into his pocket, ran to the side of Zhao Hai's house, and pressed it down with two rocks. He even remembered to sprinkle some dirt on top to conceal it. After doing all this, Zhao Ming finally headed for his own home. Inside the thatched hut, Gao Shusho had lit the oil lamp, something she was usually too frugal to use. With an expectant look on her face, she sat outside the door, wearing the new clothes Zhao Ming had bought her. Like a wife waiting for her husband to return, she gazed into the distant darkness. Sister-in-law, why aren't you sitting inside? You came out here? The autumn wind is so cold. Suddenly, a familiar voice sounded out. Gao Shusho whipped her head around. Quite surprised, she said, how come you didn't come from the front? Hearing this, Zhao Ming froze for a moment. Zhao Hai's house was to the left of his. In order to frame Zhao Hai, he had deliberately taken a detour, so of course he came home from the left side. Not taking the usual straight path home. A dog on the road tripped me. I got pissed, so I chased it and gave it a kick. That's why I took the long way through the village. Upon hearing this, Gao Shusho immediately burst out laughing, then said with a hint of playful anger. You're a grown man, still picking fights with a dog? Let me see if you were bitten. Why'd I smell a bit of blood? I got splashed by rabbit's blood when I was catching one on the mountain. Then where's the rabbit? Didn't I just tell you? A dog on the road. It must have been snatched by the dog. But, a dog snatched it? Whose dog was it? This won't do. Tomorrow, I'm going to scold every single one of them, that bunch of scumbags. It's one thing if they can't raise their people right, but they can't even control their own dogs. If I don't curse their ancestors for 18 generations, I'd be failing that rabbit. Seeing this fiery side of his sister-in-law, Zhao Ming gave a helpless, wry smile. That's how it is in the countryside. If you're gentle and virtuous, you're bound to get bullied. However, I killed someone. Tomorrow, all hell is going to break loose. It's better not to reveal that I went out tonight. Sister-in-law, let's not talk about this anymore. I'm hungry. Is there any food? Of course. Meat patties and some slow-cooked congee. Come on, come on. I'll go get you a bowl. The savory, fragrant meat patties, served with steaming hot congee. In a famine like this, I wouldn't trade this even to be a bridegroom. At this moment, after Zhao Ming had eaten his fill, He couldn't help but feel a wave of emotion. Suddenly, the tightly shut door was opened. Zhao Ming snapped his head around, on guard. Before he knew it, his sister-in-law was holding a basin of hot water. She swayed gently over to him and said with a certain softness in her eyes, "You must be tired. Let me wash your feet for you, then you can go to bed. I've put 2 layers of blankets on the bed for you. I aired them in the sun specially. It's very warm." Zhao Ming was stunned, and just as he was about to refuse, he saw his sister-in-law had already bent down, taken off his shoes, and placed his feet into the basin. Feeling the softness and warmth that only a woman's fingers possess, Zhao Ming leaned back and sighed, "Ah, that feels amazing. Thank you, sister-in-law. Listen to you, you're the man of the house now. Isn't it only right that I take care of you?" Gao Shusho said with a charming smile. Then she lowered her hands and began to gently massage his feet. And as Zhao Ming glanced over, he happened to see that as his sister-in-law leaned down, it seemed 2 mounds were stirring under her blouse. Gulp. Seeing this, Zhao Ming subconsciously. Gao Shusho flinched, but she didn't resist. Her pretty face simply flushed red as she lowered her head and continued massaging his feet. Seeing her reaction, Zhao Ming gulped again, and just as he was about to make a bolder move, a sudden, urgent shout came from outside the door. "Brother Ming, come out quickly, something terrible has happened." Hearing the shouting outside, a look of frustration crossed Zhao Ming's face. He couldn't help but curse to himself, "Which bastard is ruining this for me?" When Gao Shusho heard the voice outside, she also snapped back to her senses. She quickly lifted his foot and began to dry it with a nearby cloth. "Sister-in-law, you wait here. That sounds like Lu Guzi out there. I'm going to see what's going on." With those words, Zhao Ming rushed outside. As the door opened, he saw Lu Guzi, sniffling with a runny nose. He was looking up at him and saying, "Brother Ming, something terrible has happened. Old man Li and clan elder Zhao are dead. Right now, everyone's holding torches, discussing how to find the murderer." "What?" Hearing this, a look of utter shock appeared in Zhao Ming's eyes. "They were perfectly fine. How could they have died?" "I'm not sure. I heard from their families that Old man Li and clan elder Zhao went out to relieve themselves in the middle of the night and never came back. I heard from my 4th great uncle that they were murdered. When they went closer for a look, they discovered it was the 2 of them. I heard from my 4th great uncle that they were murdered. Who would have it in for those 2 old men? I don't know. In any case, it's caused a huge commotion. The entire village has been woken up. Now, everyone is saying we need to prepare their funeral arrangements. No matter what, we're all from the same clan. So I came specially to get you to help. Of course, no matter what, we're all from the same clan. When clan elder Zhao was alive, he was an excellent man." Zhao Ming nodded like a chicken pecking at rice. Then, as one of the younger generation, I have to do my part for his funeral. Zhao Ming nodded like a chicken pecking at rice. Then, he turned to give Gao Shusho some instructions, and then hurried with Lu Guzi towards the village's ancestral hall. To the side lay several stray dogs that had been beaten to death with clubs. In their mouths were still stuck. Men and women, old and young, all told, there were over 30 people. Now lay 2 bodies, covered with a tattered, dusty cloth. You could smell the thick scent of blood even from a distance. Old man Li's eldest son, Li Yushin, was kneeling there, his eyes filled with bloody tears. Beside him, clan elder Zhao's 2 nephews were doing the same. As Zhao Ming approached, he couldn't help but sigh to himself. What a truly horrible way to die. They were mauled by stray dogs beyond recognition. "Zhao Ming, what are you looking at?" Suddenly, a voice called out from behind him. Zhao Ming turned his head and saw it was Zhao Hai. He immediately shook his head while rubbing his eyes, forcefully squeezing out a few tears, deliberately feigning a choked voice. "He was perfectly fine yesterday, and today he's gone from this world. Clan elder Zhao was my 4th granduncle. Seeing him die such a miserable death, my heart is in so much pain." As he spoke, Zhao Ming threw himself onto the ground and let out a great wail. He even cried and chanted in a sing-song voice, "4th granduncle. How could you have the heart to leave behind the children of the clan? To leave behind my uncles? Open your eyes. Look at me, your grandnephew. Look at all of us." Seeing this, the many villagers nearby were moved to tears by what they heard. Those who listened were heartbroken. Every one of them couldn't help but praise. Ming is such a filial child. Clan elder Zhao, if he knew in the underworld, he could die in peace. To still have a junior so concerned about him. When Zhao Ming, who was beside him, heard this, he almost couldn't keep it together. New in the underworld? Die in peace? If that old bastard really came back to life, I guarantee I would kill him one more time. Ming, stop crying. It's not time to cry yet. The Zhao clan elder's son is in the county town. We'll have to wait for him to come back. We need to figure out how to handle the arrangements. An older villager stepped forward and advised. Zhao Ming remained unmoved and continued to wail loudly. Only when his eyes were rubbed so raw that he couldn't squeeze out any more tears did he intentionally sob and say, Who killed him? My fourth granduncle. I don't know. We've searched all around the village. We didn't even see a speck of blood. We don't know if it was someone from the village. A villager shook his head and replied. But he was only halfway through his sentence when he was cut off by his companion. What nonsense are you talking about? Old Man Li and the Zhao clan elder were highly respected. Who would be crazy enough to lay a hand on them? Hearing this, among the many villagers gathered around, the eyes of a few elderly ones flickered, and they sneered inwardly. They knew exactly what kind of people that Zhao clan elder and Old Man Li were after decades of acquaintance. How could they not know? It's just that they always put on a respectable act in front of outsiders. In reality, they had done far too many terrible things. There were plenty of people in the village who hated them both. It's not impossible that a villager killed them. This matter absolutely cannot be dropped just like that. Suddenly, Li Yushin, who had been kneeling to the side, shot to his feet. His eyes were bloodshot as he said, "If we don't find the murderer, my father can't rest in peace. Tomorrow, I'm going to search every single house." As soon as he said this, the expressions of everyone present changed slightly. His words had offended everyone in the village. They had kindly stayed up late in the middle of the night, not sleeping, to help set up the memorial hall, only to end up being suspected of murder. Who could possibly tolerate that? However, at this moment, Li Yushin, who was in a state of rage, said with a solemn face, "Uncles and brothers, don't blame me, Li Yushin, for being unreasonable. My father suffered a violent death. As his son, if I don't find the murderer, am I even worthy of being called human? Yushin, old Li is dead. We are all grieving, but what you said casts suspicion on all of us. Isn't that a slap in the face to all of us?" Suddenly, another Li clan elder from the village walked out. In terms of kinship, he and Old Man Li were paternal cousins. If he spoke, Li Yushin would definitely have to listen. Third uncle. Li Yushin gritted his teeth, feeling unreconciled. Just as he was about to speak, he saw this Li clan elder tap his cane on the ground. The man is dead. The most important thing is for them to be laid to rest peacefully. No matter what, this mourning hall must be set up. We don't need a grand ceremony, but we can't skip the necessary rituals. As for your father's death, go and report it to the authorities first thing tomorrow morning. When the officials arrive, leave it to the government to investigate. It's better than us fumbling around in the dark, don't you think? Upon hearing this, Li Yushin fell silent. His third uncle was absolutely right. He, Li Yushin, had no authority to search from house to house. This matter could only be handled by reporting it to the officials. Alright, let's do that, then. Sorry to trouble everyone, but please help me set things up. As he said this, Li Yushin stood up and knelt before the crowd. He kowtowed forcefully. According to village custom, those who accepted this kneel and kowtow were obligated to help with the funeral affairs. What's the big deal? Isn't that what we should do? Everyone chimed in. Then let's use the cover of night to dig the two graves first. I'll go get some wooden planks and piece together a makeshift coffin. I'll go get the white cloth to fold and cut into mourning clothes. Have some dried vegetables and good rice at home. I'll go prepare a food offering for the deceased. The villagers discussed amongst themselves, each going off to help. Even Zhao Ming joined in, chopping some firewood, and worked until the sky began to lighten before going back to rest. The next day, on a soft bed, Zhao Ming groggily opened his eyes to the smell of meat cooking. After getting up, he saw Gao Shusho making a meal in the kitchen. "You're awake. You must have been exhausted from all that work yesterday. Why don't you go back and rest some more?" "There's no need." Hearing this, Zhao Ming shook his head firmly. "I'm not that tired. By the way, are you going over to help today? The Li family has plenty of people. They don't really need me to help. After all, if one more person helps, they'd have to provide a meal for them. As for Elder Zhao, I heard from the clan that they're waiting for his son from the county to come back before making any decisions. For now, his body is also in a mourning hall, but hardly anyone is paying attention." "Huh? Doesn't he have nephews here in the village?" Elder Zhao's wife is holding on to a lot of the family's money. She absolutely refuses to give the money to her two nephews to handle the funeral. She's afraid they'll secretly pocket the money. "Oh, by the way, I heard you were crying your eyes out yesterday. Was Elder Zhao some kind of benefactor to our family? I never heard anything about it when my parents-in-law were alive. I was just putting on an act. Tears are free, you know. Even though I can't stand that bunch of old coots in the village, I still have to observe basic social customs. We can't give people a reason to criticize us and say we're thoughtless." Upon hearing this, Gao Shusho nodded. That's just how things are in the village. Even though everyone's dirt poor and relationships are usually incredibly tense, and there's no shortage of gossip behind people's backs, when it's a blood relative who dies, you really do have to put on an act. Otherwise, people will curse you behind your back. How impersonal. "Oh, that's right. Don't wait for me for lunch. I'm planning to go to town. Alright, do you have enough silver to spend? More than enough, don't worry. Zhao Ming said with a smile. After giving his instructions, Zhao Ming grabbed a few meat pies his sister-in-law had made and quickly left the house. After leaving the house, Zhao Ming turned his attention back to the intelligence system that was updated today. Today's intelligence has been updated. Intelligence 1. Black Mountain Peak, Shuilin side. Go west for half a li, and you will see an abandoned earthen mound. Push it aside to find Wuling Ginseng. Risk assessment. None. The current route has been marked. Friendly reminder. Intelligence 2. On the Zuoshan path, wait quietly by the large, dead tree. And you will see 2 wild rabbits. Risk assessment. Low. The rabbits are being chased by a wild animal, but it poses no significant threat to the host. Intelligence 3. At the broken rock in the second ditch of Shaoshan, a large number of wood frogs are hidden. You can catch them with a bamboo basket. Risk assessment. None. The current route has been marked. Seeing these 3 pieces of information from the system this time, Zhao Ming was stunned at first, then the corners of his mouth involuntarily turned up, revealing a faint smile. 3 pieces of intelligence, and all of them are good things. The first one, Wuling Ginseng, needs no further mention. Its medicinal value is extremely high. This thing, besides strengthening the kidneys and nourishing yin, also nourishes the liver and treats anxiety and calms the spirit. It can also expel dampness and invigorate the spleen, and relieve rheumatic pain. Generally speaking, this thing basically only grows in abandoned termite nests, and it's only under suitable conditions of humidity and temperature that the special fungal colonies can grow, which then develop into Wuling Ginseng. Besides the mountains, Wuling Ginseng can sometimes also appear in peanut fields. It's just that the Wuling Ginseng from peanut fields are only about the size of a thumb, and the chances of finding them are also extremely low. In his past life, Zhao Ming had known about this thing, but unfortunately, he didn't know this stuff was valuable. Instead, he treated it like a weed to feed chickens. By the time he found out, he was filled with regret. Of course, Wuling Ginseng also comes in different varieties. In later times, he heard there were wild varieties that cost tens of thousands of yuan per jin. Just like bezoars, a real bezoar is more expensive than gold. If it's an artificial bezoar, then it's not worth much. I just don't know what the quality of the Wuling Ginseng over there is like. And I don't know if the pharmacies in the county will even buy it, Zhao Ming muttered to himself. Then he shook his head, got the donkey cart moving, and continued towards town. As for going into the mountains, he wasn't in a hurry. These were lean years. Sometimes, the danger in the mountains didn't come from wild beasts, but from people. He needed to go to town to buy some things, to get prepared. Also, he had to go to the blacksmith's to get a blade for practicing the 18 forms of Po Jun. Thinking about how the system said he was a perfect match for this blade technique, Zhao Ming couldn't help but get excited. After all, what young man hasn't dreamed of being a great hero? Crack. With a light flick of the leather whip, the black donkey pulling the cart snorted in displeasure. It ambled along, pulling him towards Qingchuan town. In the town, there were very few people. Clearly, in these lean years, everyone was poor. Hardly anyone was out shopping. Not far away, the clang of a blacksmith's shop echoed. Many broken shovels, hoes, and even plows had been brought in to be repaired. Besides those, there were also some other items hanging up. Axes, kitchen knives, and scissors. After Zhao Ming led the donkey cart over, he scanned the place carefully before speaking to the bare-chested, middle-aged man. Sir, do you have any weapons here? Weapons? Of course I do. Hearing this, the burly man who was forging tools immediately wiped the sweat from his brow, chuckled, and pointed to a few spearheads hanging on the side. Those are made from 10 times forged iron. I guarantee they're durable. You just need to find an elm wood shaft to mount it on, and whether you're spearing wild rabbits, flushing out pheasants, or even going up against a leopard, or a wild boar, I promise you, it'll be more than enough. Zhao Ming looked up at them. The spearheads were a dull black, and their surfaces were still a bit rough. It seemed, the forging techniques in this world weren't anything special. Still, they were better than the materials used for these farm tools next to them. Spears. I don't need one. Do you have a blade? A large iron blade? What? At these words, the blacksmith was instantly stunned. In this day and age, iron is a precious commodity. 1 jin of pig iron costs over 20 wen, and it's even rationed. Forging that pig iron into wrought iron costs over 100 wen. The amount of charcoal and labor it consumes is incredibly time-consuming and difficult. And an iron blade, at the very least, weighs 7 or 8 jin. The key thing is, after it's forged, you still have to add the cost of labor. Even the cheapest blade would cost at least 1 tael of silver, maybe more. Because of this, even the standard issue long blades for the government's bailiffs are extremely rare. Many of them just carry clubs wrapped in sheet iron. After all, in times like these, 2 taels of silver can buy you a lot. It's enough to feed a whole family for several months. So, Zhao Ming frowned. Do you have one or not? Of course I do. You just wait. I'll go get it for you right now. After saying that, the blacksmith hurriedly rushed into the back of the shop. Before long, he came back carrying an iron blade. The blade was about 4 kai long, and the hilt was even gilded with bronze model. The blade of the iron knife is a bit rusty, but judging by its thickness, they didn't skimp on the material. So, what do you think? Not a bad blade, is it? Hearing this, Zhao Ming smirked. If this thing cut someone, they'd be guaranteed to get tetanus. Shopkeeper, you must think I'm young and gullible, don't you? You call this a knife, sir? Don't judge it by its looks. The materials I used are absolutely solid. It might be a little rusty, but I'll polish it up for you right away. How about this? I'll even throw in a sheath for free. How does that sound? Hearing what the blacksmith said, Zhao Ming stroked his chin, thinking for a moment, then started looking around the blacksmith shop again. Is this all you have? Sigh. These days, who can afford to have a blade like this forged? I'm lucky if I get an order for a couple of daggers. This blade was a custom order from the Li family in town. Their son had been practicing martial arts since he was a boy. He was determined to make a name for himself on the battlefield. But as it turned out, fate can be cruel. When the Li family was visiting relatives in the countryside, they had the misfortune of running into a tiger that had come down from the mountains. The whole family, not a soul was left. When I started forging this, I'd already taken his deposit, but I was never able to collect the final payment. I even had to put a lot of my own money into it. It nearly broke me. Sir, if you want it, I promise I'll give you a good price. You won't be getting a bad deal. 200 or 300 yen. Go on, take the thing. How about it? I assure you, this is made with 10 times forged steel. Unless you go hitting it against rocks. Otherwise, it's guaranteed to last. As the blacksmith rambled on, Zhao Ming thought for a moment. He held up one finger. 1 tael of silver and another 100 yen. Deal, and I'll take it. If not, I'm leaving right now. Seeing Zhao Ming drive such a hard bargain, the blacksmith wanted to haggle some more, but when he saw Zhao Ming turn to get back on his donkey cart without a moment's hesitation, he grabbed him and said, his voice full of pain. All right, that price of yours. You're cutting me to the quick. I'll barely be making my money back. Fine, it's yours. Please, have a seat right here. I'll go get the blade cleaned up for you now. Forget the sheath. Give me a whetstone instead. Don't worry, I'll definitely be back for more business next time. Hearing this, the blacksmith's mouth twitched. He wanted to object, but he was afraid Zhao Ming would get angry and call off the deal. So he could only swallow this loss in silence. On the Black Mountain path, the high sun was shining. It was a windy autumn day, but by noon, the sun was warm and bright. Tisk, tisk, tisk. In the past, even though the temperature difference between day and night was big, it was never quite like this. For this time of year, once these last warm autumn days are over, it's probably going to get completely cold. We'll have to add more grain to the house and buy some smoked and dried goods. And a few sets of cotton clothes and shoes for my sister-in-law and me. Now that the family is well off, we should also buy a brazier. Thinking of this, Zhao Ming couldn't help but speed up. He had left his donkey cart with the family at the foot of the mountain. He paid 3 coins for them to watch it. When the family saw the iron saber on his back, they thought he was not someone to be trifled with, so they didn't dare to have any bad ideas. Carrying his saber, Zhao Ming walked along leisurely. Before long, he arrived at the entrance of Black Mountain Path. He searched silently according to the information he had, and soon, an abandoned termite nest came into Zhao Ming's sight. Hey, I really found it. Seeing this, Zhao Ming was overjoyed. He rushed towards the nest and was seen raising the iron shovel high. He aimed at the nest and shoveled with all his might, sending dirt flying. After digging for more than 20 consecutive shovelfuls, a cavity appeared. Inside, there were round, dark, and bulging things that looked like landmines, which were actually dark spirit ginseng, growing downwards. Seeing this, Zhao Ming was overjoyed. They're so big, I imagine their quality won't be bad either. As he spoke, Zhao Ming used the iron shovel to pick one off. He placed it in his hand, weighing it for a moment, and then he put it down with satisfaction, stroking his chin. Lost in thought, dark spirit ginseng. First, you look at the quality, then the size. Generally speaking, the solid, sinking type is superior to the semi-sinking, semi-floating type. And the worst is the hollow, floating type. In his world, the price difference between qualities could be as much as 100-fold. He couldn't say that this dark spirit ginseng in his hand was the best. But it was definitely not bad. It was just a pity that this thing in his hand was fresh. He was afraid it wouldn't weigh much after it was dried. Thinking of this, Zhao Ming let out a soft sigh. After checking that no one was around, he began to pick all the dark spirit ginseng. Afterwards, he headed to the second location from his information. To catch wood frogs. Wood frog meat is tender and extremely fragrant. Furthermore, the Hashima oil from the female wood frog's belly is one of the best beauty supplements. Its price is second only to bird's nest, and it's known as soft gold. He had eaten it in his previous life. When braised in soy sauce, the flavor was exquisite. Now, he was lucky enough to have it again.